What happens when the world turns against you? When people who once clapped for you start whispering behind your back? When headlines that you didn't write, stories that don't belong to you, suddenly become the version of you that millions of strangers believe? Imagine that. Imagine walking into a room knowing that before you even open your mouth, people have already made up their minds about who you are. For Johnny Depp, that was not just a fear. That was reality. For years, he carried the weight of that silence, that judgment, that loneliness. Johnny Depp has always been a mystery. On screen, he could become anyone. He could transform himself into a pirate who stumbled around with a grin, a man with scissors for hands who longed for love, a strange and colorful character trapped in a dream. He gave us characters that will live forever. Captain Jack Sparrow, Edward Scissorhands, the Mad Hatter, these roles were more than just performances. They were pieces of himself that he poured into the screen. But when the cameras stopped rolling, when the makeup came off, Johnny was left with something far heavier than any costume. He was left with the truth of being a man who loved, who trusted, who stumbled, and who hurt. A man who had demons of his own but never imagined that one day, the world would try to paint him as the biggest demon of all. They tried to destroy me. Those words didn't come from a script. They weren't lines written for effect. They were spoken with pain, with exhaustion, with the weight of everything he had lost. Because that's exactly what happened. He was targeted, he was attacked, and he was dragged into a battle where he didn't just risk losing roles, he risked losing himself. Studios cut ties. Friends disappeared. Fans were split. One by one, doors that had once been wide open began to slam shut. The same Hollywood that once celebrated his genius now turned its back on him. And the harshest part of it all? It wasn't because of what he did. It was because of what people chose to believe. Imagine giving your whole life to something. Years of learning, failing, rising, and creating. Imagine carving out a place in the world where people know your name, not just because of fame, but because of the art you gave them. Then, almost overnight, it feels like it's slipping through your fingers. Not because you suddenly forgot how to act. Not because you stopped being talented. But because people decided to believe a story that wasn't true. That was Johnny's reality. And when the world is that loud, when the headlines echo everywhere you go, how do you fight back? It wasn't just about work. It wasn't just contracts or movies. The hurt went deeper than that. He lost friendships. People he thought would always stand by him chose silence. Silence can cut deeper than betrayal, because at least betrayal is loud, you see it, you feel it. But silence? Silence leaves you wondering if you were ever truly known at all. And yet, Johnny didn't vanish. He didn't crumble under the weight of all that noise. He didn't let the world erase him. He fought back, not with anger, not with rage, not with endless statements shouted into the void. He fought by staying himself. Step by step, quietly, stubbornly, he began to rebuild. He found comfort in music, pouring himself into every note of his guitar when words failed him. He painted, he drew, he sketched the parts of his heart that couldn't be explained in interviews or courtrooms. And most importantly, he stayed connected to the people who never gave up on him. His fans. The ones who still believed in him when the rest of the world turned away. And that's something we can all learn from. That no matter how heavy life feels, no matter how loud the criticism gets, there will always be a few voices that believe in you. And sometimes, those voices are all you need to keep walking forward. Here's something not many people know. Johnny once shared that the only way he managed to survive during those years was by focusing on the little things. Not on big dramatic comebacks. Not on the dream of being welcomed back by Hollywood. But on the small daily anchors that kept him human. Playing guitar in the middle of the night when the world was asleep. Sketching and painting until his mind found peace. Talking to fans who reminded him that he was still seen, still loved. spending time with his children, holding on to the reminder that he was still a father, still someone who mattered no matter what anyone else said. It wasn't about headlines. It wasn't about proving a point. It was about surviving. About reminding himself that even if the world felt like it was tearing him apart, there were still pieces of life worth holding on to. And maybe that's something all of us need to hear. Because we all go through storms. We all face moments where people misunderstand us, where voices louder than ours try to define us. And in those moments, the only way to keep going is to focus on the small things that keep our spirit steady. Hollywood loves a comeback story. The world loves to see someone fall and then rise again. But Johnny's story isn't just another comeback. It's not about waiting for Hollywood to forgive him or for the media to change their minds. It's about him reclaiming his own voice. About standing up and saying, I am still here. I am still me. And I will not disappear. He didn't ask for permission. He didn't wait for approval. He told his truth, even when it cost him everything. And that's what made his fight different. Think about that. How many of us have waited for someone else to give us permission to be ourselves again? How many times have we stayed silent, hoping someone would finally believe us, finally stand by us? Johnny didn't wait. He spoke up, even when it was terrifying. Even when it meant losing everything he had built. Because deep down, he believed that the truth has a way of finding its way out. And he was right. Let me ask you something. What do you think is Johnny's greatest strength? Is it his ability to disappear into roles in a way no other actor can? Is it his resilience, the way he kept moving forward when the world wanted him gone? Or is it something deeper? The fact that even after everything, even after years of lies and judgment, he still believed his truth would eventually be heard? Johnny's journey is more than a celebrity scandal. It's more than a courtroom drama. It's a reminder for all of us. That no matter how loud the lies get, no matter how strong the storm feels, the truth doesn't die. It may take time. It may break you in the process. But it will rise. And when it does, it has the power to heal in ways nothing else can. And maybe that's why this story matters. Because it isn't just about a man fighting for his name. It's about every single one of us who has ever been misunderstood. Every one of us who has been judged without a chance to explain. Every one of us who has felt the sting of silence when we needed support the most. Johnny's story is a mirror. A mirror that reflects not just fame and fortune, but pain, resilience, and the human spirit. We watch him, and we see ourselves. We see our struggles, our fights, our scars. And we're reminded that we are not alone. So let me leave you with this thought. What's the hardest thing you've ever had to fight to keep? Was it your reputation? Your friendships? Your peace of mind? Maybe it was something even smaller, but just as precious, your sense of self. Whatever it is, you are not alone in that fight. And just like Johnny, your truth matters. Stories like this remind us why we keep talking, why we keep sharing. Because voices can be silenced, but truth has a way of slipping through the cracks. And one day, it breaks through the noise. If Johnny's journey has touched you, don't stop here. There are so many more stories worth hearing. Stories of people who faced impossible odds and still found their way. Stories that remind us that even in the darkest times, there's light waiting to return. So stick around. Watch the next story. Stay part of this conversation. And before you go, do one thing for me. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Not just for this channel, but because stories like these deserve to be heard by more people who need them. Because at the end of the day, Johnny's story isn't about Hollywood. It isn't about fame or fortune. It's about survival. It's about truth. It's about proving that no matter how hard they try to destroy you, the truth will always rise. Always.